in which growing maturity rekindles the relationship between one pair of lovers, and self-absorption carries another pair to the brink of death. Chapter 2. On returning home, Vronsky found a note from Anna. She wrote, "I am ill and unhappy. I cannot go out, but neither can I go on without seeing you. Come in the evening. At 7 o'clock, Alexey Alexandrovitch is going to a meeting, and will be there till 10. After a moment's reflection about the strangeness of her summoning him directly to her home, despite her husband's demand that she not receive him, he decided to go. That winter, Vronsky had been promoted to colonel, had left regimental quarters, and was living alone. After lunch, he immediately lay down on the sofa, and in 5 minutes, the memories of the outrageous scenes he had witnessed over the last few days became confused, and joined with the thought of Anna and the music tracker who had played an important role in the bear hunt, and he fell asleep. He woke up in the dark, trembling with fear, and hastened to light a candle. What was that? What was that terrible thing I saw in my dreams? Yes, the music tracker, I think. Small, dirty, with a disheveled beard, was bending down and doing something, and he suddenly said some strange words in French. Yes, that's all there was to the dream, he said to himself. But why was it so horrible? He vividly recalled the peasant again and the incomprehensible French words the peasant had uttered, and horror sent a chill down his spine. What is this nonsense? Thought Vronsky, and he glanced at his watch. It was already 8:30. He rang for his servant, hurriedly got dressed, and went out to the porch, forgetting the dream entirely and suffering only over being late. Driving up to the Karenin's porch, he glanced at his watch and saw that it was 10 minutes to 9. A tall, narrow carriage hitched to a pair of gray horses stood at the entrance. He recognized Anna's carriage. She's coming to me, thought Vronsky, and that would be better. I don't like going into this house. But never mind, I can't start hiding, he said to himself. And with the manner habitual to him since childhood, of one who has nothing to be ashamed of, Vronsky got out of the sleigh and went to the door. The door opened, and the hall porter with a rug over his arm beckoned to the carriage. Vronsky, who was not in the habit of noticing details, nevertheless noticed the astonished expression with which the porter glanced at him. Just at the doorway he nearly ran into Alexey Alexandrovitch. The gaslight fell directly on the bloodless, pinched face under the black hat and the white tie gleaming from inside the beaver coat. The immobile, dull eyes of Karenin fixed themselves on Vronsky's face. Vronsky bowed, and Alexey Alexandrovitch, chewing his lips, raised his hand to his last and passed by. Vronsky saw him get into the carriage without looking back, receive the rug and a pair of opera glasses, and disappear. Vronsky went into the front hall. His eyebrows frowned, his eyes gleamed with anger and pride. What a position, he thought. If he'd fight, if he'd stand up for his honor, I'd be able to act, to express my feelings. But this weakness or meanness, it puts me in the position of a deceiver, which is something I never wanted and do not want to be. Since the time of his talk with Anna in Vrede's garden, Vronsky's thinking had changed greatly. Involuntarily submitting to the weakness of Anna, who had given herself to him entirely and expected the deciding for fate from him alone, submitting to everything beforehand, he had long ceased to think that this liaison might end, as he had thought earlier. His ambitious plans retreated into the background again, and, feeling that he had left the circle of activity in which everything was definite, he gave himself wholly to his feeling, and this feeling bound him to her more and more strongly. Still in the front hall, he heard her retreating footsteps. He realized that she had been waiting for him, listening, and had now returned to the drawing-room. "No," she cried, seeing him, and at the first sound of her voice tears came to her eyes. "No, if it goes on like this, it will happen much, much sooner." "What is it, my love?" "What? I've been waiting, suffering, 1 hour, 2. No, I won't. I cannot quarrel with you. Surely you couldn't help it. No, I won't." She placed both hands on his shoulders and gazed at him for a long time with a deep, rapturous, and at the same time searching look. She studied his face to make up for the time in which she had not seen him. As at every meeting, she was bringing together her imaginary idea of him, an incomparably better one, impossible in reality, with him as he was. If you enjoy this format, please leave a like and subscribe and return tomorrow for the next chapter.